and you're watching Keeping Connected After Hours, and we are having a panel discussion with some very smart and opinionated people tonight, and I'd like to welcome on the panel John. Hi, John.
Hello, how are you?
Deanne.
Hello.
Karen. Jay Swag. Jill. And Brad. So welcome, and we'll start with our question of the evening. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, what is an acceptable age difference between men, women, or partners when dating, and how much younger / older is it okay to be, or what would make you feel really uncomfortable? Anybody have an opinion about that? Yes, Mr. Swag.
Well, it all depends on if you're the younger party or the older party in this relationship, or whatever you want to call it. And it depends also if you're a male or the female in the situation. Now,
is that?
well, it would,
So it's
you know,
okay for a guy
I'm already annoyed.
older to
No,
date a
it's
younger
romance is
girl?
over.
It doesn't make
well,
it.
if you
Consensual
need to
adult
have an
sex.
ID
Doesn't make
scanner
it.
in your car,
Doesn't
there's
make
a
it.
problem.
They could be 20 years doesn't matter.
So John, you feel like it doesn't make a difference. You can be in the same sort of space and fall madly in love, and the age doesn't
I mean,
matter.
no one's holding a gun to anyone, so yeah, why not?
All right, so Brad, it looks like you have an opinion. I have this feeling.
Really?
Yeah.
You sense that?
I sense that you do have an opinion.
It's
big
it's
separation
funny.
in partners.
The older I get,
Uh-huh.
the younger it is acceptable.
See?
All right,
You see this?
So you started at 20, and it was
No,
okay to date an 18-year-old.
Yeah, Brad?
At 28, I met a 19-year-old. Out of the question, I was skeevy.
Too young.
However,
So now that you're
I
older,
love that.
However, 19-year-olds are okay for you now. Is that what you're
it
saying?
depends on what. No, hey, easy. No, legal is as long as we're dealing with adults. I think
Adults?
consenting adults who consent to do whatever they want to do, as long as there's no gun to the head or no coercing or
So
no
don't you
drugs
feel
involved.
though that what happens if, like, all right, so
Okay.
there is that 20-year difference, and one person grew up in the 70s and the other one grew up in the 90s. There's a really big difference of
The
like
problem is
worldview, right?
It's the frame of reference.
Frame of
And I
reference.
had this happen when I was 23 and I dated a 31-year-old. And we got along famous. Everything was great until, then this will date me, but until we get to talking about the big chill. And he said, oh yeah, that reminds me of Vietnam. And I was like, really? That reminded me of college. Because of course I was like, this high. So that was sort of an eye-opener. But I mean, other than that, I think you can go anywhere with an age difference. It's
can do
all
it, right?
how you feel about the person and how you feel about yourself. And who cares if, the numbers
There
are
a few
different.
years. How about you, Jill?
I feel like every relationship is a case-by-case basis. However,
Uh-huh.
the one thing that I think is so difficult for a lot of people, when you're dating someone that you have grown children and they're younger than the grown children
Yeah,
or
that
the
is-
same age, that
would
can
be
be so creepy and hard
awkward.
for the children. And it just looks, and I have been with people many times who have said, does your dad want to sit with you at the table, but it's their boyfriend?
Ooh, yeah.
It's so awkward, and I think sometimes that's just, I don't know, it's uncomfortable.
Well, so what about women dating much younger guys? Is that
That's
the
okay.
same thing? That's okay.
It shouldn't be frowned upon.
Actually, I have so many friends now that are divorced, and they're 50s, and they're dating guys who are 28 and 30, and having the best time of their lives. And I don't know how many of them are thinking about it being something for forever or for the future. But why not?
Why not? Deanne, thoughts?
I am all about women dating younger guys.
Whoa, but it's not okay if the older dude gets
Have
the
you
younger
dated
girl.
somebody a lot younger, Deanne?
Only
Okay.
2 years younger.
Uh-huh.
But I've got to say,
Robbing the cradle.
best boyfriend I've ever had.
Ah.
I
Do you
don't
think
care
they're
if I'm a
more
cougar.
caring?
No, that would be a
2
puma.
years younger.
It's different.
I don't mind about it.
So, okay, so
If
Jay
that's
Swag,
temporary,
what if some beautiful woman who's 10 years older than you asked you out? What would you do?
I would ask her where and when and how quickly can we make this happen. No,
So
but-
you're
In a
saying
poll?
it would just be the sex, it wouldn't be a serious
No,
long-term...
it all depends. It all depends. It's all relative to the situation. But I guess the selling point is that, if you're the younger dude in the situation, would be, at this point in your life, you're looking for something different, At this point in my life, I'm looking for something different. Until you find that, until I find that, why not?
Make it happen.
What do you got to lose? You're here. It's not called death. That's when you're dead. It's called life. You're supposed to live.
John, any thoughts?
You know, listen, you can't tell the matters of the heart. You know, what difference does it really make? You know, if you love each other, or if you are passionate about one another, or if you share similar interests, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference.
Okay, so on the same kind of topic, what about dating your boss?
How old is the boss?
Male or female?
How much money does she make?
How long
How
you
much,
work
how
there?
much money does she make? Okay, so is it okay to date your boss?
Being a boss and having a boss, it's a really, really, really difficult question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There,
So you're in a,
it's a quandary. I mean, if there's an attraction and there's a connection, and we know how hard that is to have in the universe, how do you navigate that? And
that's a big risk,
it
right?
is a big risk
Because you could
because-
lose your job, or you could be accused of sexual harassment. There's
And
a whole
what if-
bunch of very bad things that could happen.
And what if it doesn't work?
Right.
And
Or what
then-
if it
then
does?
How awkward? No, it'd be great if it does. Then you've got something that you can build off of. But if it doesn't work, you've just got awkward mess, and that's
And you have to stay working with that person. and
or
it's-
not, or get
Fired,
or
right.
fired, or a sexual harassment case, or
Right.
so it's a really tricky situation. I
It
say
could
no.
be messy.
I
You say no. Jill.
I say no.
I don't know. I mean, I remember some bosses I wouldn't mind dating a long time ago, but maybe it's wonderful and you're catapulted into a position of power and strength, and
So-
you have a great life, and maybe it works out wonderfully for you. It's possible.
I think
more
Wendy
likely.
Murdoch worked for,
It,
right?
It's worked for a lot of
right?
It's
people.
worked out.
Yeah.
I
Are
mean,
you
I
saying
don't. I would-
sleeping to get to the top? Is that what?
Oh.
That's what she's saying. Yeah.
No,
Pretty
I'm
much
not saying
it.
that.
Love.
I really am not saying that.
Okay.
But I feel like, I mean, I don't think there's an absolute black and white never say
Never, yeah.
no.
And Karen,
Not at all.
do you have a strong opinion?
Well, I think you have to learn to compartmentalize. I don't think you can work in the same office, whether it's with your boss or just with a coworker, and let your two worlds intermesh in the office. I think you have to keep them separate. Speaking from experience, not a boss, but a coworker.
Don't
Um,
dip
So
your
you
pen in the
had a
company
relationship
ink.
with a coworker.
I married a
Oh,
coworker.
you married? She married a coworker. So that worked out for you.
It worked out
But
great.
isn't it so
but
much more fun to go to work in the morning?
It is. But you definitely have to compartmentalize.
Did you
and-
stay co-working, or did?
Were you in the same
No, he
department?
went and got a better job,
There
so
you
it was
go.
all very handy. But
And Deanne?
I say no way.
No way.
Can
So
do
no,
it.
You couldn't do it.
I mean, I have done it.
Oh, you did that as well.
You can't have your personal life as well as your professional
Yeah.
life in the same.
It can be pretty messy.
It's very hard. Very hard to have it in front of all the people that know. So if people don't know that you have a personal life outside of your professional life, okay, fine.
Well,
But
I
if they
think people
know that
sense
you have
it
a
at work,
professional life.
you know, you can't really cover that up, right?
No, you can.
Figure,
Sometimes
can.
Oh, you can.
sometimes you can.
Oh yeah.
But it
yes.
worked.
Yeah,
But if you can't, it is very hard.
It's
to,
really hard,
It's
yeah,
very hard to
to
deal
cover
with
it.
it when people know.
Yeah. All right, John,
Well, yes,
any
you're-
thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that intellectually, if you're in control of yourself, it's a bad idea. But I will tell you that the heart does mysterious things. And so once again, you know, I think there's excitement in the illicit nature of that, and I think that's to some degree the attraction. Let's face it,
Thrilling.
people are dating their boss all the time.
People are dating their boss all the time. It's true.
I'd be absolutely clear as a boss, it's not happening here. But
Yes.
but you know,
John is in charge of
listen,
things
listen.
here.
You can say, listen, it's a bad idea. From an HR perspective, bad idea.
Bad
You
idea.
know,
Right.
From a, you know, not messing
Practical.
where you
Human
eat,
nature.
bad idea.
Right.
From controlling your heart and controlling your passion and the excitement, okay, go figure, it
And
happens.
certainly in today's world where you spend so much time at work and you kind of sync up around this like cool creative thing you do together and just sort of connect on that way. So it's first maybe emotional and I don't know.
But having said all that,
That's
ultimately it's a bad idea.
I mean,
Well, how about a client versus a boss?
Ooh, a
Does that make a
client.
difference?
You know,
I
it's-
mean, that's
And,
kind of how I met my husband.
Look, again, it's a
You
level,
might-
it's, you know, it's, if you're at an age where you have enough self-control to make a decision and act on the decision because it's right or wrong or a good or bad idea, it's probably a bad idea.
I mean, I love it when, you know, you see
Probably.
a girl and she can just make the best spreadsheet ever on Excel. I mean, that just, that gets me going.
That
All
turns
those,
you on.
yeah,
Kind of love that about you, Jay Swag.
gotta,
You have
that's
to write a poem about it.
Damn,
Yeah.
I love those girls
no.
too.
She'll put like an if statement. It'll be completely different.
All right, well, again, we have some very interesting opinions, and I think we kind of wrap this up with, you know, dating somebody a lot older, or even it's your boss or coworker, it comes down to sort of a state of your heart, and many of us want to live from here up and be very intellectual and compartmentalize. For example, I think Karen was saying that it's hard to do, though, when you start with thinking about your heart. Like John was saying, we kind of, you know, you can end up falling in love, and as Brad suggested, you can, you know, he has people above and below him, and it could get dicey, but you know what, if you really fall in love with somebody, it's kind of tough, and whether they're 20 years older or 20 years younger, you can make it work. So I think this is one of those, take it slow, check it out, go carefully, go slowly, but you can fall in love, and it makes sense to me because you kind of fall in love with somebody who likes to do similar things that you do. So we'd love to hear your opinions, so be sure to text us at this number below. And of course, we'd love to hear from you on Facebook, so like us on Facebook and tell us more of what your thoughts are. And we'd love to hear your questions, so be sure to post your questions on Facebook, and we'll have lots more discussions for you coming up.